The annual Thompson Family Financial Review was proceeding exactly as it had for the past 5 years, with me as the designated failure, seated at the far end of my father's mahogany conference table while my siblings presented their impressive achievements. And that concludes my report on Thompson Real Estate's expansion, my sister Amanda announced, smoothing her Chanel suit. Fourth quarter profits up 22% over last year. We're projecting 8 figures in commissions alone. Excellent work, sweetheart, Dad beamed, his Rolex glinting under the office lights. Now that's how you build a legacy. I glanced down at my simple cotton dress, nice, but not designer, and thought about the 3 storage facilities I'd quietly acquired last month. The ones my family thought were just more locations for my cute little storage business. James. Dad turned to my brother. Your update on Thompson Investment Group? James straightened his Italian silk tie. We've added 12 high-net-worth clients this quarter. Assets under management now exceed $50 million. More approving nods. More proud smiles. I took another sip of water, thinking about the hedge fund manager who'd called yesterday, begging to handle just a fraction of my portfolio. And, Sarah. Mom's voice carried that familiar mix of disappointment and condescension. How's your storage business doing? The way she said storage business made it sound like I was running a lemonade stand instead of what had become, quietly and strategically, one of the largest private real estate holdings companies on the East Coast. It's fine, I said softly, playing my role. We're stable. Still running that tiny shop on Maple Street? Amanda smirked. You know, if you joined Thompson Real Estate like Dad wanted, you could be handling actual properties by now. If they only knew that I owned the building her office was in. And the one next to it. And most of that block. Sarah's always been. Dad paused, searching for a diplomatic word, content with smaller ambitions. Not everyone is cut out for real success. I thought about the document sitting in my briefcase, the latest valuation of my holdings. The one showing a net worth that would make their impressive numbers look like pocket change. Actually, James leaned forward, his patronizing smile in full force. I've been meaning to talk to you about that property, Sarah. Thompson Investment Group is looking to acquire that block for development. We could offer you a fair price for your little storage place. Help you out before the area gets too expensive for your business model. I suppressed a smile, remembering the developers I'd turned down last week. They'd offered 9 figures for just one of my downtown properties. I'm comfortable where I am, I replied quietly. Sarah, Mom sighed, you need to think about your future. You can't just play small business owner forever. What about marriage? What successful man would want a wife who runs storage units? I thought about the 3 marriage proposals I'd turned down this year alone, all from billionaires who'd figured out what my family hadn't. I'm focusing on work right now, I said. What work? Amanda laughed. Collecting monthly fees from people who can't fit their junk in their basements? Meanwhile, I just closed a $12 million commercial deal. My phone buzzed, my accountant's name flashing on the screen. I normally wouldn't answer during a family meeting, but I'd been waiting for this call. Excuse me, I said, standing up. I need to take this. Really, Sarah? Dad frowned. This is a family financial meeting. What could be so important about your storage business that it can't wait? I put the phone on speaker, partially out of habit, partially because I knew what was coming. Ms. Thompson, my accountant's crisp voice filled the room. I've completed the quarterly review of your portfolio. The new acquisitions have performed exceptionally well. Your net holdings now exceed $400 million, with projected growth to $500 million by year's end. Would you like me to proceed with the additional property acquisitions we discussed? The silence in the room was deafening. Amanda's mouth hung open, her perfect lipstick forming a surprised, oh. James's face had gone pale, his hands gripping his Mont Blanc pen so tightly his knuckles turned white. Sarah. Dad's voice cracked. What is he talking about? I smiled, finally letting my carefully maintained facade slip. Would you like me to present my quarterly review now? The room remained silent as I opened my briefcase, but this silence was different. This silence had weight. This silence had 4 sets of eyes watching me with dawning comprehension. Let's start with my tiny shop on Maple Street, I began, pulling out my tablet. Or rather, let's start with the holding company that owns it. And the other properties. And the investment portfolio that none of you bothered to notice I was building. The quarterly review was about to get very interesting indeed. Perhaps we should start with Thompson Plaza, I said calmly, pulling up the property records on the conference room's display screen. You know, the building where Thompson Real Estate's main office is located? Amanda's perfectly manicured hand flew to her throat. What about it? Sunrise Holdings acquired it 6 months ago, I smiled. Along with most of that block. Sunrise Holdings is one of my companies, by the way. I've been your landlord for half a year. That's impossible, James sputtered. I handled that acquisition myself. The buyer was a private investment group. Yes, I nodded. My private investment group. Did you never wonder why the rent stayed the same when every other building in the area raised their rates? I thought it would be rude to increase my sister's overhead costs. My phone buzzed again. Another update from my team about a potential acquisition in Boston. I set it aside for now. The show unfolding in front of me was far too entertaining. But your storage business, Mom stammered, is the tip of a very large iceberg, I finished for her. Would you like to see the complete portfolio? I pulled up another document, watching their faces as the numbers appeared on screen. Properties across 12 states. Holdings in everything from commercial real estate to tech startups. A net worth that made their impressive achievements look like rounding errors. 400 million? Dad whispered, his face ashen. How? Remember that silly little app I developed in college? I asked. The one you all mocked because it was just for helping people find storage units? They nodded mutely. Sold it for 8 figures 5 years ago. Invested every penny in real estate while you were all busy feeling sorry for my small ambitions. Turns out, understanding storage needs gives you excellent insight into property values and development opportunities. Amanda stood up so quickly her chair rolled backward. Why didn't you tell us? Tell you. I laughed softly. Like when you told the country club I was still finding myself with my cute little business. Or when James tried to buy my property for pennies on the dollar because he thought I was struggling. We were trying to help you, Mom protested weakly. No, I corrected her. You were trying to force me into your version of success. The funny thing is, while you were all focused on looking successful, I was busy actually becoming successful. I pulled up another document, the latest offers for my downtown properties. These came in last week. 9 figures each. The same properties James tried to help me with by offering market rate. James looked like he might faint. Those developers said they couldn't go above asking price. Because I own the development company too, I smiled. Sometimes the best way to understand a market is to create it. Dad finally found his voice. Why the deception? Why let us think that I was failing? I finished. Because you taught me an invaluable lesson. People who underestimate you never see you coming. Every dismissive comment, every condescending suggestion, every patronizing help you offered just made it easier to build my empire without interference. I pulled out one final document, the ownership records for the building we were sitting in, the Thompson family headquarters. Which reminds me, I said casually, the property management company that owns this building, they're finalizing a sale next week. To me. The silence that followed was broken only by the sound of Amanda's designer heels snapping as she stumbled backward. You're buying our headquarters? Mom whispered. Already have, I corrected. The papers just need to be signed. Don't worry, like with Amanda's office, I'll keep the rent reasonable. Family discount and all that. My phone buzzed again, my real estate team with updates on 3 new potential acquisitions. This time I took the call. Yes, proceed with all 3. I said, watching my family's faces. And yes, the usual arrangement, keep my name off the paperwork. Some people still don't understand the value of staying underestimated. As I hung up, Dad cleared his throat. Sarah, perhaps we should discuss a partnership. Thompson Enterprises could benefit from your unexpected expertise. I smiled, thinking about all the times they'd excluded me from family business discussions. Actually, I'm quite comfortable with my current business model. Small, manageable. Just like you always said I should stick to. The irony wasn't lost on any of them. The next week was a symphony of desperate attempts at reconciliation and partnership offers, each more transparent than the last. Amanda sent a dozen emails with subject lines like sister-to-sister business opportunity and exciting synergy potential. Each one carefully avoided mentioning how she told her society friends that I was finding myself through my quaint little storage hobby. James tried a different approach, camping out in my office lobby with a leather portfolio full of partnership proposals. The same lobby where he'd once told my receptionist that his struggling sister might need financial advice. My phone buzzed constantly with family messages. Amanda, we should do lunch at the club. Talk about combining our real estate portfolios. James, just ran the numbers. A merger would be mutually beneficial. Mom, darling, the Astors are hosting a gala. You simply must come now that we know about your success. Dad, the Thompson name could open doors for you. I sat in my real office, not the small storage facility they knew about, but the entire top floor of a downtown high-rise, reading their messages with amused detachment. Miss Thompson, my assistant interrupted, your sister is in the lobby again. She's wearing Chanel and carrying what appears to be a peace offering from Tiffany's. Let me guess, I smiled. The same necklace she mocked me for admiring last Christmas? The one she said was probably not in my budget? The very same, my assistant confirmed. Should I send her up? I glanced at my schedule, specifically at the meeting scheduled in 20 minutes with a major investment bank interested in taking my company public. The IPO would value my holdings at well over $1 billion. No, I decided. But please give her my card. My real card. I could imagine Amanda's face as she read my actual title for the first time. Sarah Thompson to Phoenix Holdings Group. The same company that had been making headlines for its aggressive acquisition of prime real estate across the country. My phone rang, Dad this time. I put it on speaker while reviewing acquisition proposals. Sarah. His voice had lost its usual commanding tone. We need to discuss the family business. Which one? I asked innocently. The real estate firm that rents space in my building? The investment group that tried to lowball my properties? Or the family headquarters I now own? All of them, he said quietly. We may have underestimated your potential. They have. I laughed softly. Like when you said I was hiding from real success in my storage business. Or when you told the board I wasn't cutthroat enough for major business. I was wrong, he admitted, probably the first time those words had ever left his lips. Yes, I agreed. You were. All of you were. And that was the greatest gift you could have given me. What do you mean? While you were all busy looking successful, I was busy becoming successful. While you chased appearances, I built substance. While you networked at country clubs, I created actual connections. The best part? None of you saw it coming because you were too busy feeling superior. My assistant appeared in the doorway, signaling that my investment banking meeting was arriving. I have to go, I told Dad. Unlike some people, I actually built my success instead of just talking about it. Wait, he said quickly. The family meeting tomorrow. Can't make it, I cut him off. I'm closing $1 billion IPO. But feel free to discuss your 8-figure achievements without me. The next day, I received a flood of texts as my family apparently discovered the Wall Street Journal article about Phoenix Holdings Group's upcoming IPO. Amanda, $1 billion? Why didn't you tell us? James, this changes everything. We should strategize. Mom, darling, I always knew you had potential. I forwarded them all to a special folder labeled, Too Little Too Late, and turned my attention to the acquisition proposals on my desk. One in particular caught my eye, an opportunity to buy the country club where they'd all mocked my small business mindset. My phone buzzed with another message, this time from the family group chat I'd been excluded from for years. Emergency family meeting tonight. Mandatory attendance. We need to discuss the future of Thompson Enterprises. I replied with a single message, can't attend. Too busy being successful in my own way. But feel free to book a meeting through my office. I believe there's an opening next quarter. Then I called my real estate team. The country club? Make the offer. And when they accept, change the dress code. From now on, success doesn't have to wear designer labels. The next morning, my family arrived at their offices to find new lease agreements on their desks. The rent hadn't changed, but the letterhead had. A Phoenix Holdings Group property. Sarah Thompson, CEO. Sometimes success doesn't need to be announced. Sometimes it just needs to be revealed at exactly the right moment, when those who doubted you finally realize that the person they underestimated now owns the building they're standing in. Me. I went back to work in my tiny shop on Maple Street, which, by the way, now anchored a billion-dollar real estate empire. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't proving them wrong, it's letting them slowly discover just how right you were all along. The storage business they mocked? Turns out it was just storing something they never expected. Enough success to buy their precious family legacy one building at a time. Welcome to my empire. No designer labels required.